welcome to everybody. Glad everyone can make it, and nice to see everyone. First meeting in 2026. I'd love to go around. There's some familiar and less familiar, more familiar faces. I thought maybe before we get down to business, we could just sort of go around and introduce ourselves. I'm Joel Rudy, your president, and
I'm Jan Krotz.
I'm Ron Aycock, and I live down the street from Jan, about 4 houses on the corner of Park and St. Mary's, CSC.
And you got it all straight.
George Rodriguez.
That's why he hangs around the front of the house all the time, trying to figure out which direction to go.
George Rodriguez. I live on the corner of Hillside and Park, 311 Hillcrest Road.
And we've skipped
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
you're
sorry.
okay.
Hey, I'm Spencer McMandy, and I live next door. Lived here 20-some odd years.
Rob May back here, I'm on Beach Street, across from the high school.
I'm Dave Kesterson, I live on Park Drive across from the Vicarage.
Mike Lindsay, 1406 Park Drive, and I've been in the neighborhood since '84.
I'm Nancy Johnson, and I'm married to Mike. And I've been in the neighborhood since 1977.
And I've been in the neighborhood since 1974.
Oh.
74? You beat me.
Well, let's just get this out as the way, does anybody surpass that?
We didn't have a contest.
Okay. Sorry to spoil the pride.
We're 1970.
You were born here,
Yeah, I
weren't you,
guess
Roy?
Okay,
Well,
I'm
that's right,
Deb
Roy's got it.
Vickers, I live at 1812 Park Drive, and I've been in the neighborhood for 11 months. 10 months?
Welcome.
You win.
Welcome, you win, you're the winner.
We're happy to have you. And she's so creative, she wove and dyed her scarf. In the office,
Wow.
dyed and wove her scarf.
I'm Jerry Highsmith. We live next door to Fire Station 5. We don't get the prize. We moved here in 1982. But it's a pretty good time.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Why, I lived in the neighborhood when I was
Paul Sutcliffe, I live on Hawthorne, I've been here since 1996.
I'm Michael Coward, I'm on Woodward, been here since '79 and doing 4 hours.
I'm Roy Huntley. My parents moved here in '56. I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
And I bought the house next door to my mother, who still lives.
Mary Ann Wasson, we moved into the neighborhood in 1970, and I still enjoy saying that we have lived in the neighborhood since 1970 in 3 different houses on the same block.
And when you move, you hire movers.
Hurricane Fran took out one of the houses.
Mary Ann's husband.
The listener moderator's husband.
Didn't you get the memo? One spouse per attendance.
Okay, I'm Jeff Melke. I live on Park Drive at the end of Hillcrest. I'm the Parks and Trees Committee Chair.
Hey, I'm Jason Parrish, I live on Park Drive as well, near him. Been here since 2010, I'm your treasurer.
I'm Linda Harvey. I live on Forest Road, and I've been here since late 2016.
I'm Bill Danley, and my wife Pam and I live on Hillcrest at the Park Drive, our threesome over here. And we have lived first on West Johnson Street and now on Hillcrest since 1980.
By the way, I've been here since '68, and I live 4 houses from Mom.
I'm Melinda Abrams. I live on Hawthorne, and this is our 3rd year in the neighborhood. Ron Goodson. Don't you?
And Joel?
No, sorry, Joel.
Yeah, so we are also, I guess, in our 3rd year, or no, 4th year. We are on Hawthorne, right at the alleyway. So we're on that end.
In the back corner who makes this meeting possible.
Yes. So welcome everybody. I don't know if anyone had a chance to look through the minutes, which I meant to attach yesterday, but Julie pointed out that I hadn't. I attached those this morning, hopefully some of you had a chance to look through. Can we get a motion to approve the minutes from
I so
November?
move.
I'll second.
So moved, minutes are approved.
We got a vote.
We have to vote, sorry.
Where are the minutes?
He's our parliamentary man.
Yeah.
Are the minutes posted somewhere? Where are the minutes?
Said he emailed them, I guess, this morning.
Oh,
There
well,
you go.
I didn't read it, so.
I'm not on the email list, so.
Do we have a majority? I mean, I didn't count. Look like it? Okay.
I can send you a copy.
So if I have a question on the minutes, we can't address that?
Well, if you hadn't read them,
Or do you know why I haven't read them?
because you're not on the listserv, so as I said, I'm happy to send you a copy, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to entertain.
So just to be clear, we're approving minutes with it when a neighbor has a question on them without him having a chance to view them?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Let's move into, department and committee updates. I know Jeff has, some stuff he'd like to share with everyone. I think we have an abbreviated, or maybe not so abbreviated treasurer's report from Jason.
Do you want to start
Give you
there?
the floor. Sure.
Yeah, just, it'll be an abbreviated one. I'm happy to share more, because I don't have all the numbers tallied the way I'd like to share them today, but, headlines are that we have 7,400 and change in our account. We recently, had the holiday party back in December. I think unlike past years, we actually took in less than we spent, by about $500. It seems that it's more that the bill went up rather than the intake came down, but, obviously that's not something that we want to, repeat. That's not a good, practice for us. We should be, taking in more than we spend and then donating those, out or deciding to keep them in if we need to. So not ready to propose something for 2026 holiday party yet, but I think we'll want to change at least our messaging, and maybe more, and happy to discuss that with folks offline as we get closer to that. But, not a red flag, but maybe, something we wanna make sure we don't repeat.
I'm new to this, so how is it, we're not in HOA, right, so how do we even have money?
We have fundraisers every year.
Yeah, I know, just what kind of fundraisers?
Yeah, we have a bank account, 501c3, and then, we used to do, our big fundraiser was Christmas tree sales. And I don't wanna time right now, but we may have a lead on some, a new possibility on that, but that's how we've raised money in the past, that was the big one.
So happy to share more. I can give us the specific numbers if you want to add them to the minutes afterwards, but, that's essentially where we stand. It's about 500 short of what we spent versus took in. Still in decent shape, in good shape overall, but.
Yeah, and our food budget was almost identical, they just raised it enough to cover inflation, it was our bar tab. And we had a packed house, and I think we had more people there than just neighbors, I'll put it that way. So it was a good part.
You've got a pretty rousing neighborhood. I wouldn't say it was anybody, but I didn't drink.
Well, there are a lot of strangers there. Mike knows everyone.
Well, anyway.
It's like an opportunity.
It is Christmas, it's time to invite the strangers in.
That's true. I think we could. I don't know that that's necessary right now, but, I mean, if, I don't think we need to ask for that right now.
For what?
She was asking if there was, should we be asking for donations to cover that gap? And I felt, my view is at this moment, I wouldn't propose that. I'd rather kind of think about the long-term solution versus trying to cover up that gap.
Yeah, I think my impression, having only had a few of these holiday parties, is that it was sort of an interesting combination of events in the sense that, we don't charge admission to the party, so it's not like, everyone contributed, but clearly not everybody, and I think that was sort of one of the take-homes, was that clearly not everyone contributed, and it's that on the one hand, and on the other hand, a bar tab that sort of keeps on going as people keep drinking. So that combination of events, I think, is what led to this large gap. And I agree, I don't think we need to sort of specifically sort of treat that, but I do think that we should sort of think about, as we get into sort of other meetings, as we get closer, some potential other strategies to mitigate that. So, okay, anything else?
No.
All right, Jeff, you're up.
Yeah.
Parks and Trees.
Parks and Trees. So I'm the chair of the Parks and Trees Committee, but right now the committee is just me. Which is
Rather autocratic.
Yeah, an important part of the role is to coordinate with the city park staff to arrange volunteer activities in the parks. So we mulched the trees in Green Park. We had several volunteers from the neighborhood and several volunteers from elsewhere in Raleigh in January. That's where all the mulch came from. Typically, we would have had a invasive plant removal activity in Edna Metz Hills Park this past weekend, the first Saturday in April. We did not do that this year because of the holiday, and also because the city park staff has determined that park is actually in really good shape compared to a lot of the other parks in the district, thanks to the activities that Jerry previously coordinated.
I ruined it.
What?
I ruined it.
Well, no, you perfected it, but, there's also, we won't be having, another thing we've done work with them on is planting street trees, which we won't be doing. We're on a hiatus with that right now too, because, we got a lot of trees. And so there's not a lot to do with the city park staff at this time. There's opportunities to help remove invasive plants elsewhere in the city. That makes me think of other things we could do with the committee, and I think most of us want there to be trees and birds and things like that in the neighborhood, and much of the land is our yards. So there's an opportunity for us to work together to do things to improve our yards, to share plants.
I was wondering, we walked by, on West Park up to Park Drive, and there is a massive amount of dead grass and mulch and stuff on the street. And it doesn't really face a house, so it would be easy for people not to take ownership to it, but, it's really terrible. And I can't, who takes care of something like that?
Yeah,
The
which
city?
spot? Which, where?
Park and what?
West Park, she said?
West Park and.
Right at the corner, before you curve around.
Yeah, so we find the storm drain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Oh,
Well, for
yeah.
one thing, the yard people just blow their trees, their,
What if there are a couple
leaves and
abandoned
stuff
cars there, too?
right down the storm drain. And the ones that don't go down the storm drain, lay there on the street, and it's really pretty bad.
Yeah, I reported the storm drain being clogged at one point, and they came like within 24 hours.
Well, when you,
I don't know how many other people called.
well, I don't know how you do that to get the city to come out and shovel stuff off the street, but there's gotta be some way. I hate for the neighbors to have to get out there with shovels, but,
Yeah.
I don't think we've done it, we've done that kind of stuff before, and,
Well,
Yeah.
it would be good to get the neighbors who hire, lawn people not to blow the leaves in the street in the first place.
I agree, but this is in addition to all that. And one other thing while we're at it, I'm at it, I've been planning for approximately 3 months to call the city to ask them if they could consider putting a sidewalk across from Edna Metz, right at that curve. You sort of have to walk either in the street or through the, edge of the street, the inside the curve. Sometimes it's muddy, sometimes it's really pretty bad. And it's sort of a logical place to have a sidewalk. So maybe if you call them.
Yeah, on the south side of, is this on the south side, like on the
You know what
Forest
I'm
Park
talking about?
side?
As it edges up, East Forest.
That's right.
Yeah, as it's the curve down from like East Forest to West Johnson.
South Edge, where Forest comes together with,
Yeah, I thought it was marked off recently, and I thought that something like that was gonna be put in, but maybe not.
if you don't wanna walk in the mush there, you have to walk in the street, it's right on that curve.
Where
And,
people come fast,
So he's down that hill?
yeah, down the hill and they come fast.
Yeah, you know where that
Yeah,
is.
by Margaret's house.
So,
I'm done.
okay, that was good. So at this time, I'm looking to like recruit people to be on the committee and decide what specific activities we want to do. We've talked about things like getting together to make mosquito buckets to avoid spraying, which kills all the good
That's
insects.
a good idea.
That's a
And
big
like
gumball committee.
gumballs,
Yes,
yeah. So people are welcome to approach me after the meeting to volunteer, and I'll also send out an email asking for volunteers.
Hurricane Fred also took out our second of 2 sweet gum trees for everything.
Yeah, and that's apparently why we have so many like privets running out of control in Raleigh, because Hurricane Fran knocked down all the trees that would have shaded them out.
Yeah.
And they escaped our landscaping and took over the natural areas.
I would be glad to, because I think we're gonna see some changes in the neighborhood coming, this coming year with the city not going to be doing any leaf pickup.
Can't hear you.
Oh,
The city's not
we're
gonna
gonna have
do
some
leaf pickup.
changes with the city not doing the, twice a season leaf pickup.
They're not gonna do that?
No, that's gotten abolished. And so I was thinking that, and we have a lot of folks who are, myself included, aging in place, and for some people it's difficult to do yard work, or maybe they can't afford to hire somebody. And I was trying to think of ideas that maybe some of our, high schoolers, middle school to high school, who might need service hours. I know there's some little businesses and some of the, young people are, people hire them. But I was thinking maybe we could have, like, instead of park days, we could have some Saturdays or something where we have enough, advertising and we can get some of those students and find out what's required to sign off for certain hours or work, or could they help certain residents who are struggling to keep their curve a certain way, or the way they would like to, or some of these things near, on Park Drive where it's all kind of accumulating near the storm drains. I was thinking maybe we could just have more of a community effort, but the young people could get philanthropic service hours, or, high school.
I can tell you, they're dying, the high school kids are looking for something like that versus what they end up having to do. And if you just got in touch with somebody over at Broughton and find out who the right person or put the word out about that you probably have more kids than you knew what to do
In
with.
fact, somebody
And
recently just
Boy
got the
Scouts.
name and email address of that person, that contact person.
Yeah, you should probably call the school and find out.
Yeah,
But Boy Scout troops also, and Girl Scout troops, they have the same social, requirement, a social service requirement. So you contact those, you can get all the help you need.
Yeah, and also if we're not gonna do the park days, which I know has always gotten a lot of interest, we could make sure that we're trying to pick up the park as best we can, but instead of invasive species work and all of that, maybe those people who have been interested in that would also show interest in volunteering for, the betterment or beauty of the neighborhood. Just tonight. But I'll be on.
Jeff, in regard to that, I don't know if it'd be the right season to do leaves in April. I guess it would be, right?
Yeah,
But-
still.
But still, those volunteers, Belinda has contacts with high school and with NC State that come on that typical April day.
Yeah.
And I know they don't want us to do invasives without their supervision, and they don't have the staff, but they did say we could do other projects. So maybe we could get that April day, if they could send some of the volunteers for a different project that they don't feel like they need supervision from staff.
Yeah, I assume that next April we'll be back on as usual. It was
Oh,
just,
okay.
this year we didn't do, we're not doing it.
With regular invasives. Well, there is the people from the city do gather together with students in April for their volunteer day. But maybe we could ask if they have a willingness to send them on another project. Of course, then we have supervising, we have to have supervisors, staff, I mean, from the neighborhood, because the city, that's part of it, is they only can be doing one thing, and that invasive is their time. But I know that that's a kind of a pre-done time every year for the students from Groton and the state to come.
Would it be possible to have, and maybe because it already exists and I just don't know it, sort of a schedule that would go out for, you know, a whole year or 6 months or something that would, at least vaguely talk about what activities need to happen in any given month as we sort of go through the year?
For like what types of activities are you thinking?
In terms of, you know, stuff in the park and weeding or,
Trash cleanup.
Sort of like best practices or like things that,
well, things that like, so for instance, now it's, you know, beginning of April. As you look ahead, are there things that you know that we need to do or should do in June or in the summer or?
Like a best practices.
like in our own yards type of thing, or like for someone else?
No, not
I guess
our own
planned
yards,
events, is that
like
what you
planned
mean?
events.
Yeah, planned events, yeah.
Sort of the way, like, you know, there's invasive species day or whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's, for us, it's typically just like the 2 or 3 per year.
And they've taken away 2 of them. No, they got the mulch.
We did the mulch,
We
yeah.
have the mulch and we have the invasive. It's
Yeah.
just the January mulch and the first week in April invasive.
Yeah, which
They
will
had the tree
probably be
planting
back on
one
that.
in the fall, but we're not gonna have the tree planting.
Yeah, that's,
But did you say we're still gonna have the mulch? Yes.
we just had it.
I know, but next year?
I don't know what the schedule is then. So and Green Park is at least they've applied to make it an arboretum.
They have talked about that for years.
And
What does that mean?
It means that it has to have at least 50 species of trees, which it has. And then if it is approved, they'll have like a certain number of like interpretive like tours, each year, like two, something like that.
They'll
And-
do
and-
more maintenance.
and more-
They'll do
and more maintenance.
Will they get rid of the gumballs?
I
Hey,
don't
right.
think so.
I don't know, but
That's part
they'll
of
do
it.
more maintenance. It
They put it
seems
in
like that's
nation
been on
box.
the burner for better part of a decade, so it has, I mean, but, maybe it would be good if we could get that would kind of replace the city tree planting that we don't have at this point.
It will be back to.
What?
I think the tree planting will be back too.
You think so next
Yeah,
year?
I think so. I think it's not like they're cutting us off. It's just that this is a year that's a good time to focus on things other than parks.
We did kind of pack the park with the trees that people would accept anyways, I mean, at that point, after the 3-year cycle. They said we couldn't actually identify anybody else that said they were willing to do a tree in the median.
I think it has an arboretum status, doesn't it, also have to have, the species labeled
Yeah.
and certain requirements for an arboretum?
That would be great.
I love that idea. But then, sorry, I just had the thought about what our Friday and Saturday night revelers might do with the signs. So every species sign is gonna have to be bolted in cement, 5 feet down.
That's next.
Yeah, switching the sign.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet. Well, thank you, Jen. Anything else?
Would being an arboretum restrict the behavior of people there? Could people play in there still? Could
Yes,
children play?
Yes, they've talked about it, it would be basically a place that they would do more maintenance, it would get a higher level of service, and then students would come and they would use it as an outdoor classroom. And it meets certain criteria, so they would also give it more attention, but it wouldn't prevent anyone from using it. They might have classes there.
So is it a vote that somebody has to take or the city has to take?
No,
or
they
how
said,
does it-
they talked about it when I was the chair for like all 4 years. They kept saying they have to get a certain number of people that do volunteer to help get the trees evaluated and, get to the point where it can go forward with the arboretum. It just seemed like it was on the burner, but it never moved forward. They
I love
mentioned
the
some-
idea of that.
Pardon?
I love the idea of that, of having that.
Linda, I think Linda was the one, that would be our kind of a key person. We'll get you in touch with Linda, okay? Cause that would be helpful, cause it just seemed like it sort of was hovering and wasn't moving forward. But it would give us more support for that park.
Yeah.
Without taking anything away.
If it gets that status, I'm wondering if that would be helpful. I mean, it sounds punitive, but I think because if it earns that status, there could be repercussions for people who don't respect the Arboretum, whether it be a monetary fine or, you know, you have to catch the people in the act, I guess, at 2:30 in the morning. But, you know, I think that place is considered quite important in terms of the city, the view of the city, and so, you know, no one's going to be allowed to damage the Arboretum.
Trump doesn't care about that, they don't care about the street signs, so.
Well, that's
It's not-
true,
It's not gonna stop them from pulling up a sign at 2:30.
but that's true, but if somebody came upon them doing something, they could be fined, like a ticket.
Jeff, can you give Joel the contact information? I guess it would still be a Linda. She would know who to talk to, cause she was kind of a key before. She's a volunteer coordinator for the city of Raleigh, one of them.
Would it be an idea to, put that on like for the next meeting, let's say, and invite whoever it is
Well,
to sort of lead a discussion as to,
no, and, shoot, Joan and, with the city, from our neighborhood. I can't think of his name. Bob, yes. I mean, see, word finding. Bob was on the committee at
motion?
Past Point, so he would know more about it, actually.
I can mention that there was a lot of interest in it. I'd
Okay.
like to know more about the process.
That would be good.
What would the impact on traffic be?
I think 0.
Really?
I don't know what, and I think, you know, unless there's an active guided tour, like, at this moment, I don't think we would notice it.
Well,
It's not
speaking of
gonna be
the
a
tour,
destination.
we have had 2 tours.
Yeah.
Bob Moser was one, and I'm blanking
On
on.
her name.
Architect,
She's-
Expert
she's
from
a
the C-State.
landscape,
Okay, so, but the 2 of them,
Okay,
we,
it's
through
better.
Forest Commons, did 2, garden tours, and I think the first one, we might have had like 60 people show up.
Oh, the second one?
One of them.
in the park.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was a big crowd.
Second one, 80, and people brought their kids.
Yeah, it's
It
interesting.
wasn't just.
And we found out what all the trees were named, and
And the
then
stories.
we forgot them, and then we had another tour, and we remained it.
So we can keep doing this for a long time.
You know, and we found out, like, there's the female of this species, and
Right.
there's the male of this species.
Right,
Of course,
right.
they're far apart, but they still manage to do what they have to do. But we've had all kinds of tidbits.
If we had this new status, it wouldn't be neighbor-led interpretive tours, it would be external tours that would be advertised, that would probably wouldn't, that would have an impact on parking and traffic perhaps, or maybe I'm not understanding.
If it's the city of Raleigh, it's an arboretum, I would think so, right?
Yeah, I think it sounds like that might be like 2 hours a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably in the middle of the day.
I wasn't clear, like, if
Yeah.
they required it like once a month, and,
I don't think.
okay.
I don't know. They just haven't moved forward, but Bob was on the committee, I think was the architect that, I don't know what the name of who came to a lot of our volunteer activities.
We need younger people on our, to come to our
Well,
meetings.
no, I think everybody's blitzed out on the media going on in the world.
For sure.
I mean, I love this idea, and it sounds like we have some questions that we don't have answers to, and, but I think it sounds very intriguing. So, okay, the Bob Mosher development report, presented tonight by our guest presenter, Mike Lindsay.
Yeah, so Bob's out of town right now, and after our last meeting, which the minutes talked about, it mentioned in the minutes East Park Drive, West Park. This is for, first of all, this is for traffic calming, and I'll get to development. There's nothing to really report on development, but the last meeting, people expressed concerns about traffic calming, and the group consensus was we needed to look at East Park Drive, West Park Drive, West Johnson, and Woodburn, which was not in the meds, according to Bob. And Bob, since our last meeting, talked with Will Shoemaker, who's the neighborhood traffic management expert, and we're waiting to hear back. But for those that have been here long enough, and you know we have those speed tables on Park Drive, that took forever to happen, and we would get on a list, and then our status would drop down, and we'd get back on a list, and then our status would drop down, and then finally it happened. This will be years in the making, probably. But the city knows our concerns, and they're studying it, and they're gonna see if what we're asking for could be put back into the queue, so to speak, for a traffic study and all that kind of stuff.
Well, the governor lives on one.
Well,
Wouldn't that be nice if he could help us?
And
So-
the ex-governor lives.
So this won't happen like this year, or maybe even next year, and it'll be a process. And as y'all remember, I think to get the speed tables, they had to do a survey of all the neighbors on each respective street, and there's a certain percentage of buy-in, and I would assume that applies here. When it comes to what seems like a simpler thing, like a stop sign, I think we heard before that stop signs can involve another government level. It's not just the city making that decision.
The only speed bumps along, East Park and West Park, what you're talking about.
Well, I would think the city might recommend, what's that?
Thinking about tables instead of speed.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
it's
Yeah, we
not
don't-
like a big hump.
Yeah, it's the tables so that.
It's what's on Park Drive.
Gotcha.
So that in theory, if you're going the speed limit, you don't have to hit the brakes to go on those tables. You're supposed to roll over them at the same speed, and you're supposed to be okay. So.
Mike, you don't have to they don't do ranked choice voting to decide whether or not they put those in?
They just do a percentage of the residents.
Wonder why they
For
don't do
years,
ranked choice voting.
We just depended, and we can depend on the fact that East and West Park Drive get pretty narrow, with parking, and then also on West Park Drive, you know, there's some drop-off points, you know, towards Park Drive, and that doesn't slow down the traffic.
Is East and West Park, I'm getting confused between Forest Park.
Yeah, so East and West around Green Park.
Yeah, are they like one way?
Yep.
Flow?
Yes.
But Forest isn't.
Right, Forest is not.
I think Forest should be,
Which
it
seems
should follow
weird.
the same
I know,
pattern.
Which seems weird.
Yes.
It is weird.
We were told.
Kinda dangerous.
Actually, if they stay two ways, it slows the traffic.
The thing that slows traffic best on Park Drive where I live is parking on both sides of the street.
Yeah.
And that makes people slow down.
So again, for the traffic calming, this is gonna be an ongoing process. We're waiting to hear back from the city and see if they'll even put us on the list for future projects. As far as, development issues or rezoning cases, we don't really have anything going on right now around the neighborhood, around the edges.
What about sidewalks? Is that on the list?
That's not on Bob's list, but.
All you have to do is be a walker around here, and you know that there are a lot of them that are really in bad shape.
I think last year they came around fixing a lot of them, the sidewalks.
Oh, yeah.
The people that have new houses sometimes get sidewalks in front of their, new ones in front of their houses.
And we paid for those.
Paid for
The
it.
city would do it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So that's it from Bob.
Mike, do you or does anyone know when, the new apartments on the corner of Cox and Hillsborough are coming online?
This fall. Yeah, I think you're talking about the big
The hub,
2,000 bed
hub.
complex.
Yeah, right across the street from the.
Goes on
Yeah,
forever.
their plan is to have it leased out for fall enrollment.
Well,
Another big one.
whenever it's appropriate, whether it be now or whether it be when we talk about, neighborhood crime, we don't talk about that, we're gonna have a whole lot more teenagers and
Yes.
twenty-somethings walking through the neighborhood at 2:30 in the morning,
Right.
to and fro,
Well, we'll stick the coyotes on.
there we go.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, I don't mean to make light of what you said, because we've all been concerned about that.
And you're
for a
closer
while.
to Hillsborough,
Yeah,
so.
and now it's
Oh, we
really.
get it all.
Oh my
now it's really
gosh.
pumping.
And you get it all, yeah, all of it.
So talking about that, that sort of,
Nice segue, huh?
segues into the next, item. There was a lot of chatter over the last few weeks, and it really started even before the last few weeks, about some of the petty crime / vandalism / just annoyance that, is going on. Seemingly, I don't know if it's just sort of people are complaining about it more, or notice it more, or if it's actually happening more, but it's certainly bothering a lot of people more. And as Spencer mentioned, I think it is just gonna get worse, over the next little while as those apartments, or condos, or whatever they are, start getting rented out. 2,000 people is a lot of people. I'm not sure, when we brought this up, 2 meetings ago, or whatever it was, there was sort of a brief discussion about some options. People talked about a neighborhood watch, which had been talked about years and years ago, and nobody was really interested in that, but there seemed to be maybe recently a little bit more interest in that, and so I wanted to sort of bring it up. I think it's very reasonable because it's, ticking off a lot of people, and it's not good.
Yes, I think we should address it, sort of, obviously. I read one place in the neighborhood that have volunteers who drive around like 2 to 4 in the morning, they have a similar, and I think that's a little dangerous, because if you,
Absolutely.
now, if you see something going on and you call the police, but you stay in your car, but the whole idea of confronting these people and saying, stop. No, maybe, or just, it seems reasonable to me, the city is getting a whole lot of revenue from, and, a lot of support for downtown because of Glenwood's out. And they gave them a different decibel level, parameters because of that. It seems to me reasonable to have a police, the police just, there's cars assigned from 2 to 4 a.m. Friday and Saturday at least.
It's really from 2:10 to 2:20 in front of our house.
Well, it's also on the way, it's on the way in as well.
Gone.
It's on the way in as well.
Oh, it's
Cause they party somewhere else, they come through the
They come
neighborhood.
through.
It's like they're in a soccer match in Europe. 40 of them walking through the neighborhood chanting, singing a song.
Right.
I mean,
And egging each other on to pull up road signs and throw them in the street somewhere.
And what we hear, I think, often is just, they're at the car, or that it's, 2 cars, but they're just nonstop talking loudly and laughing loudly for 20 minutes before they get in their car and go. And
Joe, in the past, some of us met with, the local law enforcement person that, I'm just gonna throw out options that we might explore. Number one, meet with a local, captain who has this area.
it's a good idea.
He met with us earlier and many years ago, not sure a result occurred, but at least he listened and considered sending some. So I think that is number one, meet with a local captain and see if we can get him to assign some of his folks, either patrol when they come, patrol when they're leaving, but at least some presence. Another option we discussed was the possibility of the department parking a patrol car strategically through the neighborhood, which would indicate maybe I better take care of myself.
Well, they said that was, that they got vandalism when they did that.
That shows them that there's something going on, right? Yeah, they thought, there's no way.
That was not as they said. They didn't like the idea, but they heard us anyway. So I think talking again.
Maybe
makes-
it's true.
Another option is to, you have on the agenda, is to employ an off-duty law enforcement officer periodically.
Invite them to your house at 2 a.m.
Why should we pay an off-duty police officer something that we're already paying for in the first place?
I'm not suggesting that's ultimate, but at least let's talk with the law enforcement. What are the options? What will you do? What will it take us to do to get some relief here?
And as mentioned, we've talked to the police in the past, and one objection that always surfaces is usually their initial is resources. But we're not getting any tax relief because they don't have enough resources, because they can't hire enough officers, so they're taking our tax dollars, they can control our neighborhood.
You know, and it's not just vandalism. I mean, Wally Thurman's house, you know, Wally's, it was broken into. And it was another one, totally drunk guy. And he thought he was in his own home, and he broke through the front door. And that was on the listserv. He broke through the front door, he was so drunk, and he collapsed it when the police came. You know, he thought he was in his own house. Well, and what happened, you know, Kristen Cooper, now they didn't come in the house, but banged on the door so badly.
It happened in
And
our
find
house.
out later that they did this to the governor's house.
Are they primarily college-age students? We're
No,
not
it
getting it
turns
as
out
much
they're
over
older.
one.
It turns out, from what I hear.
I just wondered, because I wondered if we should include NC State in a solution. in
From
terms
what
of
I've
talking to our
heard,
students.
it's actually mostly post-undergraduate age, young twenties.
Great.
20s.
It seems so easy for between a period of time, 210 to 4.
Or two
or
to-
our-
2:30.
Ours is 150.
Takes them 10 minutes
To have one
to come
police
next
car
door.
just cruise through. I know that would make the kids that are yelling and screaming under my bedroom window be a little concerned that they're gonna be doing that and throwing garbage cans in the street and stuff like that. If they thought that a police car was gonna be driving by that area, but, you know, we have a lot of streets that they could just drive by and, you know, just.
I tell you what, they're paying attention, because 2 days ago, right on the hill, across from me on Hillcrest, two guys, one guy was in his car, he would drive off, and the other guy would go in and knock on people's door, and they'd look through the door, this is middle of the day,
Yeah.
and they're probably in their 50s, and they're probably just scouting to see if
They're
anybody was home.
thieves.
Right. And then when he got to the third house, within 5 minutes, one of my neighbors, wasn't me, called the cops, and they were there in 5 minutes, 3 police cars. So,
Good.
you know, so they are reacting.
That's good to know.
They wouldn't look at your house, Phil, but you don't think you were home.
Well, Joel, when I think it was the November meeting, wasn't it, that we did have our officer come? We did talk about lack of resources and how the police force isn't, you know, have enough officers, but he did talk about, you know, looking into seeing if he could get some extra patrolling.
That's right.
But then part of that conversation also led into, people saying that the streets that had applied and gotten, changes to the parking, that has really been some help with the time limits and the ticketing. So, to segue a little bit, not to get off of the safety thing, one of the things in the listserv in the last few days was about parking permits, and that some of the streets who had applied to the city council are now, you know, getting their signage up, and then they're gonna need their permitting. Is the majority of the neighborhood at this point fairly restricted, or how many streets would be, should we as a neighborhood think about locking down with the hub starting up, and what we've watched in our neighborhood with all the workers, over the last year, you know, just parked bumper to bumper on certain streets that don't already have the restrictions. But I thought several of those neighbors had, like on, Forest and East Forest, I think they had been working on getting the new signage and the regulations for the parking. Should we talk about it as a neighborhood to see if we do that to the entire neighborhood?
Well,
It
it's
might
not
help with
during
parking.
the day, it's only at night.
What happens during the day for the
2 hours.
workers?
But
No, I
aren't we
mean
talking
the
about
parking
those
signs.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
aren't we talking
parking,
about the
they can park
revelers,
right
if they
down.
can't park there, maybe they're walking through and they're drunken and they're kicking.
Yeah, they're walking
cans.
through.
Okay, this is all with foot traffic.
If you live on East Park Drive, then you're right down Machine Gun Alley, because that's where, that's the path they take, is they come down Hillsborough Street, they walk right past here, they go to College, turn left on East Park, go all the way down, they dump out right by, Ron's house, and create mayhem along the way. Jocelyn and Tal Lassiter have lost, I think, four side view mirrors, and how much do they go for? $1,000–1,500 a pop? I mean, Tilson's I don't know of anyone that hasn't lost a mirror that parks their car on East Park Drive.
We have, I don't know whether the other people on my end of the park
We haven't lost
agree. I
mirrors,
think the
but we've
parking-
had vandalism
the
over
parking,
the years.
restrictions has had a positive effect, I think.
I think the
That's
parking
good to
has,
know.
they've also, the enforcement has increased. And there used to be a lot of people, because we live right next to the fire station, there used to be a lot of cars that would sort of park there Friday night and kind of stay, or park any night and stay overnight, which would create kind of like a domino effect.
I
And now
didn't
they-
mean
now
to
they've been
suggest that
enforcing.
the problem is solved. It just alleviated the problem a little bit. We still have a problem and we need to work on it.
But I think the enforcement of the parking has helped, because
It has.
it means that the people that might be just coming to or from a bar and then leaving their car there for the weekend till they, need to come
Yeah,
back
it
on
has.
Monday, seem to not be there, and it seems to have sort of dampened the overall activity that we see at night from where it used to be, and it just seems, we've had parking restrictions for a long time on our street, but they haven't enforced them until the last 2 years, and they've become really strict with enforcement, and it seems to have helped sort of the overall traffic of people up and down, so.
That's good to hear, because in addition to more people crossing through our neighborhood, we have 2,000 plus units that are gonna be occupied, and however it got approved, only 550 parking spaces for the hub.
Yeah.
So we have to have maybe those strictures at night, especially to
Well, we don't
alleviate
have it
the-
at night, it just seemed to have helped the whole thing that they were cracking down with it during the day. Because what would happen is, people would just park there, like, a lot, day and night. It would just, their cars would just be left there.
Right, I mean, that's come up
But-
at meetings
but-
over the past several years, where you have to call and say, this car's been parked here for 4 days.
But they are now doing more enforcement. I don't know if you could get it at night, but the enforcement with the regular parking has improved by a lot, and its impact has been better.
Makes sense to
Just
do it
with
for the whole
enforcement.
neighborhood then.
Pardon?
It makes sense to do it for the whole
That was
neighborhood.
what I was
Yeah.
questioning.
Well, I vote for
There
that.
is,
so, no,
yeah,
it's
there
much
is a
better.
procedure, and it's a street by street procedure, which involves every household owner having to vote yes or no. So I'm not sure we can do it as a whole neighborhood, but street by street, you can do it, and apparently it's begun. So there's a whole parking ordinance procedure that you just walk through it, and they are willing to do it if you walk through the procedure.
So homeowners, adjacent homeowners are consulted on the whole deal.
They are not only consulted, you must vote. A
And
majority
you vote.
must agree, otherwise parking restrictions do not occur.
Another
It's
city-
more than consultation, it's total democracy here.
So, and in fact, what you're talking about is, our block, thanks to your wife, we got,
Yes.
ours is level C.
Right.
And Jerry, are you C, or do you know what your
We're
desk?
B.
So your parking
They don't
system
have
is
stickers
different, a little different, and what I understand
The
about.
lines are different as well.
What is yours?
We're C.
Okay, yeah,
Everybody on this side is C. We started here.
Yeah.
This is where we started. And it slowly spread down,
Yeah.
the
What is
park.
C?
Now,
Probably what you have.
and went down Hillcrest
It's
as
at
well.
night.
So all that is C.
Yeah.
It's only on the western part of, on the other side of Woodburn. Well, no, yeah, I think it's Woodburn and beyond maybe that is, B.
I think we're B.
Are you B?
I think we're B.
Yeah, no, okay, so maybe it's
It's
Forest,
Forest.
maybe it's Forest and beyond.
Ours is going to be only at night.
Oh, yours is
Like,
only at
Ours
night.
is just
Oh,
at night. It's
2
multiple.
hour parking.
Oh, I thought it was
2 hour
just at
parking,
night.
essentially.
Okay.
I don't know.
Something.
So bottom line is, we have two parking system, or no, parking permit things, and you have to apply and be continuous to what's already existing, is the way it moves through. And I'm guessing with the pressure from Glenwood South, with the new apartment building, the entire neighborhood's gonna become permitted parking, and people just need to be talking to those that have already done it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it will happen, I think it's gonna, yeah.
But it doesn't happen organically, you have to petition,
Yeah.
please do it, so
Yeah.
that's.
There's a procedure and you petition it and homeowners vote, and it's not ranked choice voting, is it?
It's block by block.
No, it's not ranked choice voting,
You have
it
to
is
sign.
the old fashioned yes, no voting.
Huh.
You get letters from the city
I
of
mean,
Raleigh,
going to,
your
signs
neighborhood.
like Mike has to tell you.
One of the, monitoring people, if you call it that, told me that it's hard for them because they can't immediately tell who is a resident legally parking there or who is not. And one day, there was a guy out there, right outside my car, and I said, oh, that's my house, my car. He said, oh, well, it's hard for me to tell, and he had to go into his little thingy and key it in, but when you have a street full of cars, you know.
And they've got optical readers that read your license tag.
Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say, I got us off on this whole parking thing, but, because I do feel it's related. But there are still some concerns about circling back for, are we gonna move to maybe say, could we have the police officer come back and talk about neighborhood
I
watch
think that's a
programs,
great
or
idea.
what's kind of out there, have they changed? None of us seems to want to be out there dealing with some of these, you know,
Right, that's
sorry,
dangerous.
drunken hooligans, that's dangerous, so maybe we need to learn more about what's out there in terms of signage for, neighborhood watch and what it entails.
I don't know if anyone was willing to do neighborhood watch. I thought we'd all agreed that that was, a little too dangerous to be dealing with drunks at 2:15 in the morning.
But you can always hire people, right?
Well-
You just do a fundraiser and just hire people.
Well, I don't agree with
off-duty.
sitting in a car and laying in wait, but I think neighborhood watch programs aren't all that we're having to take it on ourselves. I think
Right.
some of it is, you make it visible that, hey, this neighborhood works together, there's signage. I don't know if it acts as a deterrent, but I don't even know what the new forms of neighborhood watch are, so maybe we could have somebody come tell us what.
Yeah, and maybe some research on hiring security, like what that would entail, what it would cost, and what neighbors, I mean, I know we've got lots of strong opinions about that, but it would be helpful to get some information.
Well, hard security wouldn't have on police uniforms, so it's dangerous for them if they're not in a police uniform. If it's just somebody we hired to be security walking around.
It's
I
just
think-
more of a
I think-
watchdog, right?
I think you can hire a policeman, and he is uniformed and has the full authority of police.
Off duty.
Now, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Walk up and down West Park Drive.
It's
As
gonna.
long as people see a police officer.
Right, although,
Spencer's
at
point is
Spencer's
good,
point,
is
we're already paying for that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I
sort
think,
of,
yeah, I mean, if we start asking them about, oh, can you help us with community watch, and they're gonna go straight to that, and they're not gonna offer resources.
Okay.
but I do think that having either, whether it's Officer Lee, who was here last time, or someone else, I think understanding what the options are, I think is a good first step, and then figuring out, all right, you know, we don't necessarily, in an ideal world, you know, we flood the zone, but really it sort of sounds as though there are several streets that are kind of the prime areas, and, you know, we should at the very least target those areas first, with whatever we decide to do, and, you know, and then go from
It
there.
just seems so easy for a police car for a couple hours just to cruise slowly around a few streets. I mean, what's it take?
But they're gonna tell you they're gonna have to pull a resource off
Yeah, they'll have
something
the
else
resources.
to apply it.
I know I
Right.
said this earlier, but, you know, the city
you
council
talk
of
to
the city
me, it was
bent over
so-
backwards to make it so that Glenwood South can increase and be even more lucrative for
Here,
them.
here.
And perhaps helpful, you know, to keep you know, the center of Raleigh operating, I'm not just gonna make it all bad. But they owe it to the peripheral neighborhoods to do some
Yeah.
basic policing when there are problems caused by policy decisions they make.
That sounds like,
They can't do it downtown. Businesses are fleeing downtown because of the crime down there. The cops can't do their jobs, guys. I mean, it's just, that's what it boils down to. And if they can't keep downtown Raleigh going, you think they're gonna care about a neighborhood like us on the fringe? It ain't gonna happen.
And they've been short-staffed for years.
Wonder why? Nobody wants to be a police officer anymore.
I
It's
think,
crazy.
well, they
isn't it?
don't pay enough in Raleigh.
They don't get to
They
do
pay
their
more in
jobs.
other
They're not allowed to
places.
do their jobs, and nobody wants to be a cop. They're fleeing the forces across the whole country. That's what's happening.
Well, our community officer that couldn't be here tonight, we notified her kinda late, but she said, let me know, and, you know, they'll be at our next meeting, and we can do emails, and we have a sign-up sheet, if anybody wants to get involved in whatever we care to call the neighborhood watch, put down that kind of information, and then, you know, we can create a little committee or something.
Start a GoFundMe.
Oh, but and the other thing, which I mentioned to the city before, is, you know, the Glenwood Entertainment District, they're also a special tax district for those, all the businesses along there, and just like they hire, Hillsborough Street Community Service Corporation hires ambassadors, and of course, ambassadors are not the same thing as law enforcement, and they should not be trying to endanger themselves at all, but there might be something to talk to the police, talk with the police department, and then talk with the, association that governs Glenwood South, and express to them our issues, and maybe they'll have some of their folks just kind of walk in this direction occasionally, and just, if they see something going on, they can contact the police and say, hey, I think there's some troublemakers heading that way, or whatever.
Joe, I think it's important to have the community officer come here. However, I think if we're gonna grab this thing, we have to have a committee that meets with the community officer, the downtown patrol, and come back to this group with a recommendation. As much as a large group discussion is very important to get input and make sure we do it, I think to really find out what the issues are and what our options are, we need not necessarily, whoever wants to come, but you need a committee that meets with, Mike can get the city councilman,
Good
Mike is a
idea.
politician here,
Good
he can get
idea.
anyone politically to come, get the city councilman, our representative to come, get the community, watch person, get the captain for this area, get the neighborhood association at Glenwood. There are several aspects of this that I think we need to focus with the committee. I talk too much as a lawyer, you lawyers have to stop me, there's two others, Bill and Myrick have to stop me. But there's one other subject, if in fact it is a lot of university students, we ought to be talking to the community relations director of the university. I think there are about 5 different avenues we ought to be exploring and then reporting back to this group. Mike said people don't volunteer enough. I'm out of town a lot, but I volunteer.
With what you're talking about, another joint venture or effort we had was the Glenwood Brooklyn neighborhood, and myself in this neighborhood, I don't know who else, we had a small meeting over in the Glenwood Brooklyn neighborhood with, Jonathan Melton and another, and we got the ball rolling about upping the parking fees, to make them serious, because a lot of people were parking here.
Fees or penalties?
The fee, maybe it was like $30, and so some people may say, oh, who cares, no big deal, but now I guess it's 200. And I think when that became 200, and you see a sign that says 200 at the entrance to our neighborhood, I think it's caused people to already rethink. But even if the whole neighborhood's, permitted parking, like Spencer was saying, we're still gonna have cut-through people on foot who aren't parking here. But I know where we are, we get I think a number of people park further up in the neighborhood and then
They
walk
park
back to
in front of
Glenwood.
our house.
Yeah.
If we leave for a while, we come back and our parking space is gone.
Right, but we're gonna have, a parking permit sign up soon, we're already registered, so our street's gonna be, our block will be parked.
They could donate a bunch of orange cones.
You know,
One good point Mike makes, and
You
I had
have some.
success in another neighborhood that I was in, was doing that very thing, which was finding adjacent neighborhoods and pooling together. Go talk to that neighborhood association, go talk to Mordecai, you know, get them all, go together as 5 or 6 neighborhood associations representing a whole lot more people than just 4 or 5 people from Cameron Park neighborhood.
It's a great idea to have a small group of people talk and plan on it.
I also think as the summer goes on, you know how when you read the listserv, and it's fine, but it gets repetitive with people saying, oh, just so you know, my glove box was rifled through, or, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And I think as the summer goes on, and if you want me to, I mean, I don't mind writing up something so it's not just random people with all these different messages. But people have to just remember a lot of commonsensical things, and that is, we have to lock our cars. We have to make sure there's not things valuable in our cars. And, a lot of people are smart now that are putting their driver's mirror, you know, in, so it's not, you know, gets clipped, or maybe isn't just sticking out there for some drunken person to go, oh, I'm gonna grab this and take off with it. But just, it just, also, if you can park, if you are lucky enough to be on an alley and have a little driveway or a garage or whatever, I just think that we're gonna have to kind of pull together and be smarter about knowing that our neighborhood is just, there are a lot more people moving through our neighborhood who don't live in our neighborhood. And I'm not saying, oh, you know, out. I just think we're all smarter, and there are messages on the listserv about ways to, you know, just be smarter about your house. I'm not somebody who's great about warning signs, but I do know that having a sign with a little solar thing on our back wrought iron near our driveway that says that we have security cameras, it's quite bright, it's quite visible, it's not my favorite aesthetic thing, but I think it has kept my house safer. So any of that kind of stuff where we can suggest to people, and to remind them that there are going to be people coming from, let's say the hub is point A, to get to point B, they're gonna use us as a cut through. Be smart about how you lock down your house and view your house as being more vulnerable, or your yard as being more vulnerable. It's just gonna happen, so.
Well,
Common sense, safety things.
yeah, I love Ron's idea of, you know, putting together a committee. I think that's good. It sounds like there's some people that wanna continue this conversation. I think it's important. I suspect that Raleigh PD, although they're clearly, you know, resource tapped, I don't think they wanna hear that there's just this continual litany of complaints from residents of, you know, a pretty prominent neighborhood that, you know, street signs and car property and house property, and like, I don't think they want that. So I think that, you know, within certain limits, I suspect that people will be willing to listen and offer suggestions, and maybe just have to try something. But I think a committee's a good idea. All right, listen, it's a little after 8 o'clock. Wanna move through a little bit. Just briefly, update on the legal action. As everybody knows, there was a suit filed a few months ago that has been working its way through the legal system. My understanding from our lawyer is, which just happened, I guess, this week, is it has been confirmed that the, not the trial, but whatever it is going on, and has been scheduled for, I think, the last week of September. That's about as much as I know at this point. There was some sort of legal back and forth to get the thing thrown out, to not get thrown out, blah, blah, blah. It all went forward, and mid-September, end of September is sort of when the next actual thing is happening. So just wanted to get people up to speed on that.
Quick question, final one now.
Yes, sir.
So that it is going forward because there were legitimate concerns to the process then, correct?
It is going forward because a judge that was presented the information declined to
Throw
have it
down.
not go forward.
Correct. And so there is legitimate reason to hear concerns over the process.
The judge felt that he or she, I don't know what it was, felt that there was enough merit to go
Here
forward.
further, right, exactly. So I'd just like to point out the reason why I'm not allowed to read any emails that have been thrown off the email list was because I questioned the process from the start. Now, the question I'll have to you right now, Joel, is, okay, so I'm kicked off the email list, and then earlier here in the meeting, as a neighbor in this neighborhood, you do not even allow me to see the the minutes to approve whether or not and because I can't read them, my rights as a member of this neighborhood are taken away, that I can't even do that. So when are you gonna stop taking my rights away, Joel?
No one is taking your rights away.
Did I have the right to, did I have the right to see the minutes? Did you just not walk right over me when I asked to see the minutes earlier?
Well, I don't have a copy of the minutes, I said that I'd be happy to send you a copy of the minutes.
But you said we're gonna approve them anyway. No, you said, Rob, nope, we're gonna approve them, and
That
you did.
follows Robert's rules, Rob. Now, I'm sympathetic to the argument you're putting out there.
You censored me from the start, Marion. You're not sympathetic to
Hey, Rob,
anything
we're
I
not gonna
said.
have this same
I'm just gonna
conversation
make
with
one
every
statement,
single
Rob.
meeting.
Yes, we are. Yes, sir, we
No,
are.
no.
Every single
No.
one, brother, until it's done. The
Yeah,
right
no.
way, it's gonna be every
Rob.
single meeting.
Rob,
You
we're
know.
not doing that.
Rob,
Okay.
Rob,
I have
You gonna
no
throw me out of the
problem-
meetings
I have
now?
no
You gonna
problem
take away those
sending you a
rights
copy
to,
of the minutes.
am I allowed to attend neighborhood meetings and voice questions of the neighbors now? Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
you're
Rob,
allowed.
give me a chance.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. I mean, this is a topic that some of us have an interest in, other than just your view. And your view's fine, I'm fine.
Doesn't sound fine to me from a lot of people who censored me because of it.
But don't keep the rest of us from asking our questions.
Go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead. What's your question?
So I got the minutes, by the way, Joel. And I was able to look at them, and I noticed in here that at the end of the meeting, it said basically that Ron and others offer staunch support for the executive committee to work within the association bylaws to represent the wishes of the association. Okay, now, I was looking at that and I was trying to figure out how are we determining what the wishes of the association are. I mean, a lawsuit's hard to do that with, but is there, in fact, has the executive committee thought about a process for figuring out a broader group of the members of the association, what they think about what's going on? I mean, I don't know a lot about the lawsuit.
I know a
But
lot
How
about
do
it.
we get that input to the executive committee?
They know exactly what's going on, all about it. They don't wanna tell you.
Rob?
Rob,
please
it
let him answer.
has nothing to do with wanting to tell everybody anything or not tell everybody
Okay,
anything.
well, we'll see.
Okay, thanks. Just for clarification, the neighborhood association does not own or control our neighborhood listserv, okay? Mary Ann Wasson created it and listens to the neighborhood and sets rules, and we all have input on what those rules are, but Mary Ann controls it, not the neighborhood association. There was no conspiracy, Rob, May, to kick you off based on you having an opinion. Mary Ann removed you permanently because you stole email addresses, which was a violation of the terms of agreement when you signed up for the listserv.
I communicated with my neighbors on the listserv by
Excuse me,
email. And
Rob.
you kicked me out, Mary
Rob,
Ann.
please
You kicked me out, you censored
I'm
me,
gonna be
and we
brief.
all know you censored me all together with the rest of them because nobody wanted to hear the questioning of the process, which we're gonna find out real soon,
Oh, Rob.
come September,
stop
what
talking.
really
Stop
the deal
talking and
was.
Let me have a couple of sentences. Everybody knows, I wanna say it here in a public sphere, you know very well that you were not removed from the listserv for stating your opinions.
I sent an email to the
I
neighbors.
get my 2 sentences.
No,
Rob
ma'am, you
May.
may not. You're gonna listen. I
Rob.
sent an
Rob.
email to my
Rob.
neighbors and asked them to join my group since you guys
Rob,
censored
you
everybody
know
else
how
on
to
the
be quiet.
conversation.
You know how
You
to
censored
be
everybody
quiet.
else. You censored me, Mary Ann. You
I
censored
did
me.
not. You
and
will
the
continue
committees
to-
and Bagwell and Lindsay and Huntley, and none of them stood up and said, Mary Ann, that was wrong. He's a member of this neighborhood. His opinion deserves to be
Rob,
heard.
a-
None of you did it. And then what
Rob.
they did, Lindsay and all those guys, they got the cops to come to my house about it. I got the video posted
Rob,
on YouTube.
Rob, once again.
You guys want to say
are-
you're not
you are
censoring me?
wrong.
You're not trying to intimidate me?
Rob,
You won't let me have a vote here in the
Rob,
meeting?
you-
Question for you
would-
with the minutes over there. Can you
Rob,
tell me the one thing I want to know about the minutes? The only thing I want to know is, was it read into the minutes last time after 2 times I requesting from Joel to say into the minutes, Cameron Park neighborhood is still Cameron Park neighborhood. Cameron Park Neighborhood Association is still Cameron Park
Do you
neighborhood.
love having an
That's
audience
all I
with
want to know, if you did put those in the minutes or not, Joel. That's all I'm asking. Can you tell me that right now by looking at the minutes over there? I don't know your name, sir.
It's right here, and I don't recall whether
Rob
that was
May,
added
an
in. That
honorable
was certainly
person
added in
allows people
previously.
to talk.
You assume a lot. Can you show me right now? You don't even have the minutes. You don't know, Joel. He's got the minutes right there.
Bill has the minutes.
Yeah, so tell me if it was read into the minutes that Cameron Park neighborhood is still Cameron Park
Give him a
neighborhood.
chance to.
Cameron Park Neighborhood Association is
He
still
heard you.
Cameron Park
Give him a
Neighborhood
chance to.
Association. Is it in the minutes, yes or no?
Okay, point of clarification.
Because that's not true.
Rob May, you just accused the neighborhood association or me or a group of us of calling the police on you. That is again another lie from you. The reality is a single woman who lives in the neighborhood asked you to leave her alone repeatedly and you refused to do it. She's the one who contacted.
No, she never
police.
once asked me
And
to
she
be
is the
removed from my
one who's-
request. Never
and-
once
and-
asked, oh, no, she was a committee member, that's right, yeah. She was on the
And
committee.
it's because of you harassing her that the police showed up at your door. Nobody, the association did not call the police on
I
you.
got the email saying, hey, yeah, let's call the cops on them. I got the emails. It's on my neighborhood groups where free discussion is guaranteed,
All right, I'm-
anonymity is guaranteed.
As I've done on
All of the
previous meetings,
documentation is
I'm
completely
closing
documented
this
on my
discussion.
neighborhood.
Closing this discussion. We're not gonna have every single meeting.
Yes, we are.
We're not gonna have every single meeting
You gonna take
dominated
that away
by
from me too,
you
Joel?
going on and on and on and on, without listening to everybody and just voicing your opinion.
You do not let me speak, you ignore me, you walk right over me, you did it earlier in the meeting, you just said, no, Rob, you can't vote, you can't see the minutes, no, sorry, approved, goodbye.
So you're turning it into the lie that you're going to put out there. Joel said 2 or 3 times, he will send you the minutes.
After they've already been approved, what the point is that? If I don't get the question on,
Your alone
That
vote
follows
would not
Robert's
disapprove
rules.
them.
Would not disapprove the vote.
so you would steamroll me regardless then?
If you
learn
have
about them.
That
comments
does not
on
violate
something,
Robert's
please feel
rules.
free to send it
Robert May.
by email.
After the fact, after the minutes
After
have
the
been
fact,
approved?
yeah.
Yep, so
After
you
the
don't
fact.
give me a chance to voice any opposition at all?
You could
Take
have
it away
read-
more.
You could have read the minutes.
No, I couldn't.
Why not? You
'Cause-
found out about this, how did you find out about this meeting? It was
I
not
have
secret
a
to
lot
us.
of people that beg me to come to this meeting and
Then those
video
same
it
people
so I
have
can share it with
access to the
everybody.
minutes. Then those same people have access to the minutes and could have shown you the minutes. Everyone had access to the minutes.
But is it not the committee's responsibility to share the minutes? Is that not the government of the neighborhood, the committee? Is it not their
It's not
responsibility
my
to share
responsibility to
minutes?
share the minutes with you specifically.
Oh, why not? I'm a member of this neighborhood.
Hey, Rob.
Why do you not have to share it with me, Joel?
I wonder if we can entertain a motion to censor, Rob May and not allow him to attend any future meetings? I mean, this is.
Look at this communism. You're communist, Roy. You're communist. You're trying to censor me.
He's so disruptive.
Dare try to kick me out of this. I'll have a lawsuit on you that makes this other one look like
You
a,
should do that, Rob.
try to censor me.
Hold on. And another point of, please, okay, I've clarified 2 misstatements. I'll just call them lies, which is what they are. This last one, I will point out, after I became neighborhood president, I had a Zoom meeting where this kind of behavior was going on. And I thought, okay, well, when we have an in-person meeting, this kind of people behave better in person. This is what happened at the first in-person meeting I had, which led, the next time we had a meeting, I had to create special rules for the start of the meeting that I then asked the room to approve, which you also agreed with and voted in favor of, which was only done in order to try to control you.
Mike, let me just say one thing. If you would put me back on the listserv.
I don't have that authority.
Well, you can look at her right now and ask her to do it right now. President of the neighborhood association, look her in the eye and ask her. You won't even do that. All I want to be is a neighbor and have my neighbor's rights.
No, you don't just want to be a neighbor.
You don't know what, then give me my listserv back. Give me my listserv back. You won't even do that.
I have nothing to do with the list.
You can look her right in the eye right now and say, that's the right thing to do, Mary Ann. You won't do it because you don't want to hear the voices. You don't want to hear opposition to the agenda that this committee, Lindsay Huntley and the rest of them steamrolled over the entire neighborhood in a vote. 2 times tonight we've talked about city votes that had 50-50 property owners votes only. And both times I made that point. Ranked choice is a joke and that's what y'all pulled to get your membership through.
All right, so the July 4th party, we'll have to put that on to the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
BA. Yeah, I'm gonna close that discussion. The July 4th meeting, July 4th party rather, is just coming up. Just wanted to bring that to everyone's consciousness. And we'll talk more about that. That's just in like 2.5 months. I had nothing further at this point. I don't know if anyone else.
One question, 2 questions.
I'm not.
Is Cameron Park Neighborhood Association still Cameron Park Neighborhood? Yes, it is. Is Cameron Park Neighborhood Association still Cameron Park Neighborhood Association? Yes, it is.
Aye.